Zina Portnova was responsible for poisoning German officers during the Nazi occupation of Belarus, and later shot her own interrogator while under arrest. But what makes the story unsettling is not the violence, it is her age. She was only 17. In 1941, Nazi Germany occupied large parts of Belarus. What followed was not just military control, but administrative terror. Food was requisitioned. Civilians were executed publicly. Entire villages were erased to discourage resistance. The occupation depended on fear being predictable and obedience being visible. This was the environment in which a 16-year-old girl became structurally dangerous. Zina Portnova was not a soldier. She was a schoolgirl who joined a Soviet partisan youth network known as the Young Avengers. The group specialized in small-scale sabotage, spreading leaflets, damaging infrastructure, gathering information. These actions were minor individually. Together, they attacked the occupiers' core requirement, control without constant force. Her most famous act was not a battlefield attack, it was poisoning. Working in a German officer's canteen, Portnova contaminated food with poison. Several officers fell violently ill, some died. When suspicion arose, she was forced to eat the same food to prove her innocence. She did. She survived. The poison worked slowly. The Germans concluded the incident was accidental. Structurally, this was worse than open violence. It demonstrated that even routine systems, meals, kitchens, civilians, were no longer reliable. Eventually, the network was compromised. Portnova was arrested in 1943 and taken for interrogation. This is where her significance shifts from resistance to paradox. During questioning, she was left alone briefly with an officer's pistol on the table. She picked it up, shot the interrogator, killed another officer while escaping, and attempted to flee. She was recaptured shortly afterward. This moment matters because it violated every expectation of control. Occupation regimes rely on predictable fear. Prisoners are meant to endure, confess, or break. Portnova did none of these. She acted decisively without hesitation inside the regime's own procedural space. The act was not tactically decisive. It was structurally intolerable. After her recapture, she was tortured for weeks. Witness accounts describe broken limbs, burnings, and attempts to extract information about other partisans. She gave none. Eventually, at 17 years old, she was executed. From a purely military perspective, her actions changed nothing. The German occupation did not collapse because of Zina Portnova. The war did not turn. This is precisely why her execution mattered so much. Occupation systems do not fear loss, they fear precedent. A teenage girl who poisons officers, survives her own test, kills interrogators, and refuses to cooperate introduces a destabilizing variable. She demonstrates that compliance is not inevitable, that fear can be bypassed, that control has limits. For such systems, eliminating the individual is less important than erasing the example. Portnova's age amplified the threat. Resistance is easier to rationalize when it comes from trained men. When it comes from children, it exposes the moral vacuum of the occupier and the fragility of its authority. The regime cannot explain it away without revealing its own brutality. After the war, the Soviet Union elevated Portnova as a martyr. Streets and schools were named after her. Her story was simplified and ritualized. This, too, was structural. States turn uncomfortable resistance into symbols to make it manageable. Memory is safer than unpredictability. What makes Zina Portnova unsettling is not her bravery, but the clarity of her position. She had no expectation of survival. Her actions were not steps toward victory, but refusals to submit. In systems built on coercion, refusal itself becomes a weapon. This pattern repeats across occupations and authoritarian regimes. When power depends on obedience, the most dangerous individuals are not those who can defeat the system, but those who demonstrate that the system does not fully function. Zina Portnova did not defeat the occupation. She exposed its limits. And for that reason, the system could not allow her to live.